Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be dumped and divorced, but attracted a hotter and better woman. Well, I've got an email success story from a guy, I believe he's in the UK. And for those I should say, that are from Europe, you'll notice some of the little things that he says or phrases that kind of give away where he's at. And so this particular guy, he last summer, almost a year ago, decided he had a drinking problem. He went into rehab, got out, and then it started a series of events where, because the marriage wasn't that great that he was in, then his wife ends up leaving him. So he's going through a difficult time, and then he comes across my videos, which is typically what happens with probably 85% of the people that come to me. They got a relationship that went sideways. They're trying to fix it or trying to reattract their ex. But as he got more into it, he said it was interesting is that after his wife was gone, he started working out. He lost, and this is like all around end of last year. So since December of last year, that's December 2022 till now we're May 4th of 2023. The guy's lost 88 pounds. And he said what was interesting, a video that I did a few months ago, like really clicked for him because he finally talked to his wife because they hadn't been speaking for a couple of months. And she's like, I'm out. I want a divorce. Or I don't want us to be, she said she wanted to not get a divorce, but she didn't want to stay together. And he was like, well, that doesn't work for me. So he says the video I did a couple months ago called Mindset, Why Men Should Never Try to Get an Ex Back. He said he watched that like 20 times. He said something just clicked. Shortly after that, he got into dating apps, matched with a girl, went on a date. She just knocked his socks off. A couple months later, she wanted them to be an item. She wanted to be exclusive. So now they're exclusive. So in the last year, this guy on his own recognized he had a drinking problem. He handled that, took care of it. And then that illuminated the problems in his marriage that he's later come to realize, especially since he's been with his new girl, that he just settled in his marriage. That was part of the reason why he wasn't so happy. And so it just goes to show in a short period of time, a guy can completely transform his life. When he gets serious about learning what's in 3% Man, this guy's also read Mastering Yourself 3 times. It's like in his marriage, he completely got away from his mission and his purpose in life. He kind of had no direction. He wasn't embodying all the things that are masculine energy that attracts women to us guys. So once he started doing that, his life completely changed. So you could tell this guy, as you go through the email, you see he's in a bad place. He was in a lot of despair. During the holidays, his wife is gone. He's home by himself, and what's he doing? He's watching my videos, getting stronger, learning, he's exercising, and then within a 5-6 month period, he doesn't even recognize his life. It's so much better than it used to be. So for those of you guys that are going through a difficult time, that are watching this, that are struggling, maybe you just got dumped. Maybe you're in the middle of a nasty divorce, or maybe a girl broke your heart, and you're thinking, life's never going to get any better. You got to put your head down because, as Dale Carnegie said, inaction breeds fear and doubt. Taking action breeds confidence and courage. And so this guy took what Tony Robbins would call as massive action. He had an MAP, massive action plan, and my books gave him the tools to do that, and he did the work. And so if you guys want to be inspired, those of you that are going through a difficult time, this is the email newsletter for you. So he says, Coach, you legend. First off, I hope you're doing well, and sorry this email's a little long, but I wanted to let you know how your work has turned my life around. I'm 41 from England. My wife is 38, and I have 2 kids from a previous relationship, and they live with their mom. Or he says, Mum. Last year, back in... For those of you guys have been on my Instagram, there's a few clips that we posted, a few reels with Katie, who was my English girlfriend that I wrote about from the UK. And she came by, it's been about 3-4 weeks ago, I guess it was. And she just happened to be traveling. She's like, hey, I'd love to see you guys. And so she came by and we hung out with the girls. She was here for a few days. We did a bunch of podcasts, filmed a bunch of videos. We published an Instagram story. And so people asked all these questions that were familiar with my work. What do they want to ask Katie and I? And so we made a lot of great videos that we're going to release over the next year. So be on the lookout for those. So we did some extensive podcasts and answered the questions that everybody wanted to ask. It was really cool that she stopped by, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy it because she's just an amazing girl. So he says, last year, back in July of 2022, I put myself into rehab for drinking as it was playing a massive toll on my marriage, kids, and health. When I came out of rehab, I tried to make things better with my wife, as I know I had been neglecting, just playing video games, drinking, not dating her, and the communication between us was non-existent for the past year and a half. So it sounds like Elvis had already left the building. Fast forward a couple of months to October, and my wife started coming down with really bad anxiety and depression. Depression got so bad that she needed to move out and move in with her friend's house. She told me she needed some space and she doesn't know who she is anymore. He says, I know. Looking back, I could see what went wrong. So she left and moved out on the 1st of December. This was December 2022. She told me that she didn't want me to contact her and she would contact me when she sorted herself out. Yeah, when women want space, they're basically taking space to see if their feelings return. In essence, because they felt smothered. Obviously, in this case, they weren't happy for a long time. I mean, a year and a half living together and not really communicating, that's not a lot of fun. Plus, he had a drinking problem, which he since rectified. He handled it, because that's what men do. We handle things. As you could probably guess, I didn't see this coming at all. Most guys do not. He says, I stuck to her request and didn't contact her at all and waited. And this time, I was going insane, wondering what went wrong, how I could fix this, as the deep pain of hurt inside was getting worse, and this is how I stumbled across your work. I'd say most of the guys that first come to me, the overwhelming majority, that's pretty much where they're at. They're in a lot of pain, and they're trying to figure out what the hell just happened. So he says, Christmas was non-existent, as I had nothing to celebrate at the time. Well, you were sober. So I ended up watching your videos from the moment I woke up till the time I fell asleep. That's if I could sleep. On Boxing Day, on Boxing Day, I decided I needed to sort my life out, so I joined the gym. I downloaded your audiobook and had that on repeat constantly, in the car, in the house, in my headphones, when I needed to get out for a walk to clear my head, just everywhere. I had your voice constantly in my ears. I learned what I had been doing to turn her off and pushing her away to the point of leaving. I had become needy. This is super important because so many guys do this, especially when you take into account what is the archetype that's presented to us in all the movies and TV shows. He says, I had become needy, no purpose or drive. I put her on a pedestal and I didn't do anything for myself and just became her lapdog, as I was trying to make up for how shitty I had been through all the drinking. Yeah, it's understandable, but that's what you see in all the movies and TV shows. All the men tend to treat the women like their mommies. And in the real world, that makes their pussies drier than the Sahara Desert. So he says, come the first week of January 2023, my wife called and asked if we could meet up. She told me that she needed to call it a day, but doesn't want to get a divorce as she doesn't know what the future holds. In other words, she's like, hey, be my backup plan in case I can't find anybody else. I can, hey, we'll still be married. He says, I told her that I don't want to be friends with her, and if she ever decides to change her mind, to give me a call. I drove home and sat on the sofa just looking back at what the hell had gone wrong and why I didn't see any of this coming. Most guys do not. So you're not alone. I put YouTube on and watched one of your videos that changed everything for me. It was called Mindset. Why men should never try to get an ex back. He says, I must have watched this over 20 times and something just clicked. I got on dating apps. I started going back out with friends and family and just started to enjoy life again. Yeah, that video was a good video because it really talks about the mindset of reaching your full potential and putting you in the position as a man where you're the most attractive man that you can be. You're working on yourself because those are the controllables as I talk about mastering yourself. Those are the things you have influence over, which is yourself. You don't in this case he had no influence over what his wife is thinking and feeling. She doesn't live in the home anymore. They hadn't talked for over a month at that point. And now she wants to dip out. And so she's doing these things for himself. And so because you gotta get to a happy place yourself instead of trying to find somebody and then become happy with that person. When you're already a good, happy place, somebody else that you attract who's also in a happy place becomes a compliment to your life instead of the person that saves you, if you will, or instead of the person that you put all your success on, because that's someone outside of yourself. And if they don't behave the way you want or the relationship doesn't want, you can't be happy because you've told yourself that you need that person. So he says, I got on dating apps. I started going back out with friends and family and just started to enjoy life again, finding the old me that had been lost for years. I sat down one evening and wrote out my pros and cons list of what I wanted in a woman as instructed in your book. See, this is another thing. The guy followed the instructions and he read the material. He immersed himself in my work, constantly watching videos, trying to figure out where he went wrong, filling in his knowledge gaps so he doesn't make the same mistakes in the future. This is what men do. This is masculine energy. He's fixing himself because you got to participate in your own rescue. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to do it for you. You have to do that yourself. You have to become self-reliant. I've been out on several dates, but I've said to myself, I'm not going to settle. I just want to have fun and wait till someone comes along that knocks my socks off, or as he says, blows my socks off. Well, I got to talking to this girl one afternoon on a dating app, and things just seemed to hit it off. I asked her to give me some dates when she was free to meet up. She is a air hostess. I assume that like air stewardess maybe? And was away for the next 4 days, but was free that evening. So I set a definite date, and we met up at a wine bar that evening. Wine bars are great first dates because it's just a glass of wine. You can have one glass of wine, and if it's not really clicking, you can say, hey, it was really wonderful meeting you, but I got to run. I wish you all the best in your search. Or, hey, it was great meeting you, but I got to run. This has been fun. And then you can dip out. If it goes well, you can have another glass of wine. Then you can go to a second place, maybe have some dinner. And then after dinner, maybe you go someplace to throw some darts, shoot some pool, maybe bowling, throw some axes, play miniature golf. Like a Top Golf is another great place to go for a date. Those things are like everywhere now. And what's cool about a place like Top Golf is it's a physical thing. So interacting and touching one another becomes something that is really facilitated by what you're doing on the date, just like miniature golf is. Anything you can do physically, or an arcade, driving bumper cars around, or an amusement park or something like that. Things where you can interact with each other. When I spotted her by the front door, my jaw dropped. She was absolutely beautiful, a 10 out of 10, and her profile pictures did nothing for her. In other words, their pictures did not do her justice. He says, we went in, got the drinks, and I sat there and let her do 80% of the talking, asking good quality and fun questions. I was playful with her and gave her a bit of banter. We ended up just sitting and talking till the staff asked us to leave, as we realized the place was closed and we were the only two left. It's kind of like the experience that I had with Katie back in at Date with Destiny back in, this was like 2004, December 2004 when we met. We never ordered dinner. I think we had some tea, and we were like probably 3 a.m, and all the chairs are stacked on the table. They're vacuuming the car. I mean, like everybody was literally gone. That's what happens when you really click with somebody and time like stands still. It's like you're in your own little world together. I walked her up the road to her car, said goodnight, and went in for the kiss, and she ended up snogging my face off. Well, I have not heard snogging, so obviously you English guys can tell me that. Tell us in the comments what snogging means. But we get the idea. She asked when I was free to meet up again when she was back, and I replied with, I don't set a second date on the same night. I need time to reflect on how this date went, with a James Bond smirk. That's pretty good. Cut a long story short, because he did it in a playful way. He wasn't like, I don't make second dates on the first date or at the end of the first date because that's what my book told me to do. He's doing it in kind of a fun way. And he's also communicating that he's very selective. He wants to take his time. He wants to reflect on it. So that creates scarcity. Scarcity creates value. A guy that doesn't have abundance, like the video we talked about yesterday about the abundance mindset, that is the abundance mindset right there. I want to reflect on this. Even though it went real well, he's like, I want to reflect on this. And what's that going to do? It's going to cause her to think, well, what's going on here? I have to work harder for this guy. Women like you more if they think that they are more into you than you are into them. To cut a long story short, as I know my email has gone on for a bit, me and my ex-wife are currently going through a divorce, as I said to her that I'm not waiting around, and as she said, she doesn't know what the future holds. I love her for everything she has done for me and my kids, and I wish her all the best for the future. Looking back at the relationship, it just turned into two friends living together. Lots of dudes have that experience. I've been hitting the gym hard, and I've lost 88 pounds since Christmas. That's amazing, dude. Good job. Started my own business, and I lost count of how many times I've listened to your audiobook and still have it on every day on my headphones at work, and I'm currently on my third read of Mastering Yourself. This is somebody that takes self-help and personal development and reaching his full potential seriously. He's putting in the work. One of the emails that I answered yesterday, the guy had been following me for years, so many, many years, I think 2014 maybe. So like 6-8 years, and he's like, I've read the book 7 times, I think. He's not really sure. And you could tell he wasn't really applying very much. This guy is applying, he's learning the book relentlessly, gets in the dating apps like right away, and he's taking action. You have to participate in your own rescue. Nobody's coming to save you. Looking back at my relationship with my ex, the marriage had broken down over a year and a half ago, and I resized, or maybe he said realized, that I was drinking and playing video games to mask the fact I was unhappy and just settled. I am currently 332 days sober, and I'm going back to Jessica, the smoking hot air hostess. She's blown my socks off and is everything I wrote down in my list of qualities I was looking for in a woman. I have done everything your book has taught me, from setting dates, going to 2 or 3 places on dates, letting her reach out 80% of the time, watching where her attraction level is, backing off when she backs off, and finding her little tests cute, and just letting the relationship play out so she thinks it's her idea. Very smart. She asked me that she doesn't want to just date me anymore, that she wants to be an item. We are currently have been seeing each other for about 2 months, and all I can say is thank you, as I would have never been able to meet someone like her due to the fact I would have blown my chances on the first date, or if I was lucky to get the second. I can safely say that what you teach works, as she is always saying, you're so different, you're so hard to read, and she finds it frustrating that I don't chase. Well, I do a little to keep her on her toes. James Bond, not perturbed, and the indifference that makes the difference. Thanks again, Coach, from Bob. Well, Bob, thanks for sharing that success story. So keep in mind, when I say read this 10 to 15 times, so you can get to know it so well you could teach it, that's what this guy did, and that's why he was able to recover so quickly. Plus, because he wasn't really focused on his mission and purpose, he got into Mastering Yourself, which is all about how to align your life with your true calling. And for those of you, I know there's still people out there that don't know I even have my quotes books out, because I see it in the comments, but I have 2 quotes books out, Volume 1, Volume 2, that are available everywhere. These are the nice, beautiful hardcover. You can see these These books are like almost 700 pages long because they each have about 250 quotes in it. Plus, just like I used to do, where I would read the quote and then I would kind of talk about the quote. That's what I do throughout the book, and they got mostly 5-star reviews on it. So you guys love it and appreciate it. And so if you got a question or challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.